Buonasera, you're listening to Italia Ieri and Oggi here on WAIF 88.3 FM, and we are so happy that everybody's joining us this evening. I hope you're staying warm. Mario, I don't think it's ever been this cold for a long time.
No.
Oh.
Even I'm used to the cold weather. This is cold.
Yeah, we were out last night. Oh my goodness, we couldn't warm up to save our lives. But we're glad you're.
Well,
listening.
I think it's because we are getting older too.
Did you have to say that?
No, I'm getting older. Sorry.
Okay, that's better. Well, this evening we have a very special guest with us. His name is Giacomo Antonio Luca. And yes, he is the grandson of Giacomo Luca from Fuscaldo in Italy. And Giacomo is a journalist and a student, and he's going to be joining us. And Giacomo, welcome to the show.
Hello.
And I'd like to just have your version of how you started in the journalism field.
Okay, well first I'd like to say prima di tutto ringrazio a te Gina and Mario di avermi dato questa opportunità. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Glad to be back in Cincinnati for the holidays. So how did I start in journalism? I graduated from Oak Hills High School in 2010. I guess my little run in journalism started my teacher at Oak Hills. His name was Donnie Becker. He was teaching this journalism course. At the time, it wasn't tied in with the newspaper course at the school, but anyways, he had 10 girls on staff at the time. I was a junior in high school, and he said, I need someone to take some pictures of the football team because they were doing fairly well at the time. And he said, I'll give you a free press pass and you can go out on the field and shoot some pictures. So I did it, went out. I had the best seats in the house because I was right on the field. And then it turns out I was pretty good at it. A little bit later, he had me start writing. I was writing sports. I started out with some basketball stuff, and then got into theater, and then some more news, and then op-ed stuff. And by my senior year, he asked me to be the editor-in-chief of the Tartan. And that was kind of how my career picked up and my interest in journalism began.
That is very interesting. So it just started as a football photographer and kind of took off from there.
Yeah. It was,
Did you always have a flair for writing?
I mean, I love it now. I absolutely love it. I think more so than even writing, I love to tell stories, and that's really how I guess that's just where my interest comes. I kind of focused since I started college and got further into college. I kind of brought my medium from print journalism more into broadcast. But of course, I still love to write. And what I really like about broadcast, specifically television, is the visual medium. And I just love being able to see and show people, I guess, what's happening.
And Giacomo, where do you go to college?
I study at Roosevelt University in Chicago. I'm a senior. I'll be graduating this coming May. It's in the South Loop, so for people not familiar with that area, it's just downtown Chicago. It's pretty much as close to the lake as you can get. I live in Roosevelt's new Wabash building. It's a 32-story vertical campus. It's the sixth tallest building, educational building in the country, which is pretty interesting. So I've got a really nice view of the lake. But Chicago's also been a really great place as far as opportunity for studying journalism because so much happens there.
And do you do some internships? I believe we were talking about that during the break, and you said that you've had some opportunities to do internships.
Yes, I did my first internship at WAWS WTV, which was the Fox and CBS affiliates in Jacksonville, Florida. I did that my freshman year. That was where I got my first taste of broadcast journalism because Roosevelt has a journalism school which is focused on multimedia and print. As I was kind of talking a little bit before the show started, I was really interested in that, I guess the valiant Clark Kent or Peter Parker, because I just, I really love those newspaper reporters. And then, so I went to a print-based school. And towards the end of my freshman year, I kind of realized that the world of journalism is changing, and multimedia is really becoming an element. So I thought, maybe I can focus my path of journalism into something a little bit more visual, and maybe something that might eventually, because I guess the theorists of journalism today are believing that everything's going to become convergence, where everybody's going to be doing radio, print, and video eventually, just because of the way technology has changed over the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so I had an opportunity to work at the Fox and CBS affiliate in Jacksonville, Florida. This past summer, I worked with Fox 19, WXIX here in Cincinnati.
And what did you do there?
I did a little bit of everything. At XIX, I was a little bit more focused in web producing and field producing, which is where I would go out with reporters or photographers, and then I would help produce stories out in the field. I'd write a little bit. I did a video package about, I guess, how to put together a newscast, and that's published on the Fox 19 website, which is pretty interesting to kind of get a little bit of my face, but I also got to tell a little bit of a story that got
And
published.
how can we access that?
If you go to, you could visit my website, giacomoluca.com, or you can go to Fox 19's website and just type in Giacomo Luca, or type in behind the scenes at Fox 19.
Okay,
And
that
it'll
sounds
pop up
interesting.
there.
Yeah. We're going to be speaking with Giacomo some more. Right now, Mario's going to play some more music for us. You're listening to WAIF 88.3 FM, and this is Italia Ieri and Oggi. And this evening we have a very special guest, Giacomo Antonio Luca. We've been talking about his journalism career. And Giacomo, you also have done work at WGN, which is a huge station in Chicago.
Yeah, for this past semester, the fall semester of 2013, I worked for the WGN Morning News, which also broadcasts live, even in Cincinnati, on WGN America. It's the CW's superstation. That was a really great experience, because Chicago is it's one of the largest markets in the country, and really, as far as having the best of the best, WGN definitely had a lot of resources, and it was just interesting to be in really one of those super fast-paced newsrooms, just because there's so much going on in Chicago. It was really interesting. I was specifically helping to produce for Larry Potash. He's one of the morning anchors, but I also did a lot of work with the other morning anchor team, with Robin Baumgarten and Pat Tomasulo. But there I really got to just, a lot of really good experience working with people who have, worked as hard as they could to get to the top. A lot of those people at WGN have been working for some 30 years in the field, and it's just good to be able to soak in all that knowledge, because especially in journalism, it's not so much your education, it's what kind of experience you have, and what do you understand about, concepts of journalism and writing, and and also learning, or at least seeing it live, right there, the personality that these people have, because they're just really great. They're just really great on television.
Yes.
So, yeah.
What was the process to apply to get an internship there? I bet that was a little bit tough.
Well, I did 2 internships before I got there. I actually applied all 4 years, and so my freshman, sophomore, junior year, I applied, and I never even got a call back. And then going into my about 2 weeks into my semester, I got a call from Larry, and he just said, "Hey, I saw your application. What have you been up to? And you still interested in working for me?" So it was really cool. It was good to show that it seems like, I guess all the, I worked for, I guess about 8 months for free before I even got another, the paid internship at WGN. But really, I guess when you look at it, it's all about, I guess, just learning in the field and learning as much as you can from people that have been doing it. If I have to work for free for a year in internships, I think it'll be worth it in the long run, because it'll put me maybe a year, a couple years ahead of other students in the field that that I'm going to be competing with for a job in the next couple months when I graduate.
How important is, like you were talking about, I know journalism before was a lot of just written work, and you have told us already that that's changing in the journalism field, and you are also getting into the video broadcasting and all the different mediums. How important is personality with that new medium, or that?
Well, I mean, I think today it's, and I actually saw this thread on LinkedIn about, it was just a couple of days ago, whether or not employers should be allowed to look at your Facebook page or your social media sites. And I guess, my response to that was, you're expected as, I think as a journalist to have some sort of moral code, or at least with the general population, because you are seen as, in many ways, a public servant, because you're expected to tell the truth, and a lot of people don't just believe anyone. You look at people like Katie Couric, who, she has a reputation, and people believe her because of what she's done for the past 30 years. And whether you're in television, whether you're radio or newspapers, I think today people want to trust you, and new technology has made it easier for people to kind of get to know you. So having a little bit of a personality, I think, definitely helps reaching your audience, because whatever medium of journalism you're in today, I think it's expected that you reach out to an audience.
Right, I think that's very important, and I have to say, I think you do that very well.
Well, thank you.
It's so easy to talk to you on air. Your personality really comes across.
Well, we finally have a pro.
We have a pro, yes. That's true. Your family must be very proud.
I think so.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And so, are you planning to return back to Cincinnati, or does it matter where you get a job?
Well, especially starting off, I'll have to say that I won't have a huge choice in where I get a job. It'll pretty much be wherever I can get hired, because what they say, especially with TV reporters, is they're kind of like flies. It's a really saturated market, because everybody wants to be on TV. And I think the difference with me, though, is that I call myself a journalist before I call myself a broadcaster, and I'm really more dedicated to telling stories, and I think it's a lot more also because of my background, and because I went to a journalism school and not a broadcast journalism school. I'm a lot more focused in, I want to tell stories. And there's a lot of students out there today, not all, but there is a lot of students that are studying broadcast journalism, seeking a job or career in journalism, who just want to be on TV. And I think the difference, I hope, at least will show with employers later on, when I am seeking jobs, that they can tell that I really want to tell stories, and I think that's the difference in seeking jobs. But most reporters today that start off, to get hired out of college, you have to start somewhere small, like a Lima, Ohio, or a Zanesville, or I've been looking at jobs pretty much everywhere. I've seen some job openings in Panama City, Florida, Myrtle Beach, Anchorage, Alaska. So it's pretty much wherever I can get a job, and whoever is going to give me the best offer getting out.
Well, I'll tell you, the last couple of days, Myrtle Beach It's sound much better than Alaska.
Myrtle Beach, yes.
Or Panama City, you know.
Yeah, that
We
sounds
kind of we've been freezing over here.
Well, I even saw a story the other day just about how lots of parts of the Midwest are actually colder right now than most parts of Alaska because
right.
this front has just really
We were,
pushed
I think
in.
for a little short time, we were colder than the North Pole. Which is
I-
just
I believe it.
unbelievable.
Especially Chicago right now. Man, they're really getting hit. You know, parts of everything west of Indianapolis has just really got crushed. I-65 shut down.
It's been bad.
Okay, shall we get to?
I think
some
we're gonna make a
music?
dedication.
Yes, we are. We had a call from one of our most favorite people, Peppina Ottaviani, and she would like to dedicate Return to Me to her children Linda and Joe and all the members of the United Italian Society. You're listening to WAIF 88.3 FM, what radio is meant to be. And we have the pleasure of having Giacomo Antonio Luca with us. He is a journalist and student from Chicago. Currently going to school in Chicago. And Giacomo, you have very strong Italian roots. Your grandfather, Giacomo Luca, is from Fuscaldo, Italy, and you actually told us that you have visited there.
Yes, I actually had the opportunity when I was a freshman in high school, so that was, well, seems old now. No, not really. 2007, I spent 2.5 months there. And Fuscaldo's in southern Italy. Really, I think I visited Milan and Rome. I was there for those places for a very short period of time. But it seems like southern Italy just is like really the most rich in culture as far as, well, at least when I was there, it was absolutely beautiful. Fuscaldo was gorgeous.
What can you tell us about you got a really good idea of the flavor of the life there. What can you tell us about how people will enjoy themselves, what they do?
Oh, I mean, everybody was incredibly nice. They're very welcoming. Until I think about a month, I didn't speak Italian when I went there. I kind of picked it up as I went because, especially in southern Italy, very few people speak English, even the kids. So as I started to pick it up, and as my skin started to get a little bit darker because of the in mezzogiorno, the midday sun, I started to look more and more like a Calabrese. But people definitely noticed that I was an American, especially when I first got there. Everyone was very friendly. It was, I don't know how to explain it. It's what I guess those old Italian movies that you see. I guess that's the biggest explanation. It's very much.
And I think the beach is a big part of the Fuscaldo lifestyle.
Oh yeah, we would get up at when I had the chance, I would try to get up early. I would stay out so late sometimes because my cousins were always out. But if we get up at 10 in the morning or so, and then Fuscaldo sits on the top of like a mountain. It's really high up, and then you go down these like slanted roads, back and forth, all the way to get to the beach. And then maybe my cousin would stop by a little bakery and pick up like a pizza and some water, and then we'd go to the beach. And the most interesting thing is that, especially for people who really haven't been to southern Italy and have only seen the beaches in the coast of Florida or Myrtle Beach area, the beaches, like, there's, instead of sand, it's mostly granite and marble. Which is just really interesting, these really round stones. And also the sand was just, the sand that was there, and the rocks, was just extremely hot, just all the time, which I thought was funny. So you almost had to wear shoes if you were going to go on the beach. But the water was always extremely blue. The Mediterranean is beautiful. And also, like, when you walk out into the water, there's not really much of a sandbar. It kind of drops off really quickly, is from what I remember. Is you maybe go 5 or 10 feet out, and it's deep.
That's why everybody knows how to swim.
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah. Oh, that just sounds wonderful. Was there a favorite meal that you had, or a favorite type of food?
Well, and this kind of it kind of sounds bland, but the pasta was just it was just always so good. My aunt Antoinette would she'd make dinner every night, and usually you always start off with pasta, and it was just very fresh. It felt like it was every day, like it was homemade pasta. And I know sometimes, a lot of the times, she would make homemade pasta, just with red sauce, and the Parmesan cheese was just always so fresh. It was just, it doesn't taste the same here, although probably shouldn't say that because my grandma's probably listening right now. And,
He loves your pasta.
No, absolutely. No, but the pasta there was just, I just remember it was really good.
Well, actually, you're right, because we had the problem with the coffee. We buy the coffee pot over there. We buy the coffee, and we make coffee over there. It tastes delicious. We come back here, and the coffee tastes different.
Maybe it's the
good,
altitude.
but yeah, we don't know. But it just tastes better there.
Yeah, I think
It's the plane. It changed on the plane.
Did you eat very much fish while you were there, being near the ocean?
A little bit. I'm trying to think. I know my aunt made bakla soup, I think. Yeah, bakla soup, which is like a red sauce and like sardines or other fish, which was pretty good. I know when I was on the beach one time, my uncle chased me with polypo, which is octopus. Yeah, and and it was funny. I was talking about how hot the beach was. I ran all the way, across a 100-foot stretch to get away from my cousin or my uncle. As he's chasing me with this octopus, he ran halfway across the beach and then turned around and ran back to the water because the sand was so hot. But I remember making it all the way across because the thing was big. It just and when you're in the Mediterranean, it just I guess the animals are just right there. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, we're going to get back to some more music.
Luca.
This next song, our guest Giacomo would like to dedicate it to,
My Nana and Grandpa Luca.
and it's Paese.
I love this song.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, that's why I
Yes.
remember it. It's just
You're listening to WAIF 88.3 FM, and this is Italia Gina and Mario. And our guest this evening, Giacomo Luca, is a journalist and student. And Giacomo, I'd like to have an idea of how you would approach a story. You said you like to tell a story when you report something. How would you approach a story like, for example, like All Is Cold? What would specifically interest you?
Well, I guess specifically, the first thing that I do is, especially being a multimedia journalist, I would go out and I'd shoot the story. So I would do a little bit of research and try to investigate, especially if you say the Cincinnati area. I might be looking at places like Rybolt Road, which is this really huge hill that might be really getting affected by snow and ice that almost makes it impossible to pass. And then after I did a little bit of research, I'd go out and focus on what's the best visual way to tell the story. Try to get as much video as I can. Talk to some people that are in the area, and then I start to craft my story from there. Once you have images, especially in broadcast television, I think it's a lot. It looks a lot better, and it almost sounds better when everything kind of cooperates in the story. So when I'm talking about snow, you should see snow. When I'm talking about ice on the hill, you should see ice on the hill. And if you don't have and I think a lot of students really do they just kind of show whatever because they're trying to tell stories, and sometimes you don't have images for that. But as far as what I've experienced from, I guess, learning from professionals that are in broadcast today, I really focus on doing my best to make sure that everything cooperates and everything's together, so then it looks better for the audience and people understand it more. So I guess that's how I start.
You told us that broadcast or reporters, journalists now, not only like are in front of the camera and tell a story, but you also are involved in editing and producing a story. Is that good for a journalist or a broadcast journalist to be part of that process?
Well, I think especially people that kind of get up into like the national networks, CNN, Fox, ABC. Most of those reporters, they have a photographer, they have a field producer, which would go out and help them write the story, and then sometimes they'll have someone do makeup and all kinds of things. But when you start out, I think, and they call them backpack journalists because literally you have a camera case and usually a laptop, and you go out and you make the story all on your own. You shoot it, you write it, you edit it. And then sometimes in really small markets that don't have a lot of money to hire other people, they're even, reporters are even driving live trucks, setting up the live shots, those trucks with the big masts on them with satellites. The satellites are the microwave vans, and they set up their own live shot, the camera, and then they report it. And I think what that does, especially in the field today, is it really makes you respect all of the other jobs that are done. I think, even in this broadcast that we're doing right now, it's only the two of you, but everybody that is working in the newsroom or everybody that's working at the operation is very valuable. And from the photographer to the person who runs teleprompter, the words on the screen that the anchors read, without the teleprompter operator, the anchor doesn't read the news. Without a producer, the news doesn't get written. Without a reporter, you don't have the news. So it really makes you feel a lot, I guess, get a better feel and a better respect for the news and for the job. So then, if you do happen to move up later on, I guess you can respect all of the people that are doing it now.
Yes, so there's really a lot involved in producing a story or getting a story in front of the camera.
Yeah, especially reporting in smaller markets. Even some of the reporters at Fox 19 are multimedia journalists, and I think the hardest thing is that you're expected to produce a minute and a half of television, a minute and a half of news in an 8-hour period, and you have to do it all by yourself. And and that's why reporters they always kind of seem like they're just running around like crazy people, because they got if you have to drive somewhere and it takes you 45 minutes to get there, that's a good chunk of your time. And even with the way technology has improved over the years, it's still really hard to feed video back to the station, because you have to remember that the video has to be in access for the producers. So even if you're in the field, even if you edit, you have to have time to feed that package back or feed that video back to your producers to put it in the show. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard, and I think I definitely give reporters a lot of credit, because from top to bottom, they just they really work hard to get the best story they can in the most time. And turning over a package in 8 hours it's not easy.
Okay. Well, Giacomo, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I certainly have learned a lot about the journalism and broadcasting field, and I kind of have a new respect for journalists and reporters, and I had no clue how much behind the scenes work went on. We see, we like Channel 19, we look at that and we see the half-hour show.
Turn it on and it's just there.
It's right there, but you've really cast a new light on how much work is going on behind the scenes and how many talented people are there. Oh, okay, Mario. Yes, you're very talented in producing the show. And any closing thoughts?
Well, I definitely like to say thank you very much for having me on the show. It's really been a great pleasure to get back to Cincinnati and especially talk about my Italian roots and my career and my aspects. Definitely like to say thanks to my family. My dad, Carmen Luca, my mom, Kristen Rouse, they've been very supportive. My grandparents. It's funny because I got this big Italian family, and it almost seems like I'm almost kind of fit for this. I've got my aunt Rose is a hairstylist, so she's always she's got the hair and makeup covered, and my grandpa, he knows how to dress pretty well, so the suits and stuff. So you kind of grow up, I guess, almost being ready to take pictures and get in front of the camera.
So you were being groomed for this long before
I think
you knew
so,
it.
before I even knew it, exactly.
That's wonderful. And I'd like to tell everyone that Giacomo's grandfather, Giacomo Luca, is here in the studio with us. Would you like to say hello or ciao to anyone? I know he said I don't want to be on the air, but he's a great person, and also your sister is here. Would
My
you
aunt.
like to?
Aunt.
Your
Yeah,
aunt.
aunt,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry. That's your aunt.
No.
Would you like to say anything? No. Okay. But you have a great family.
Thank you. I guess they're a little bit more shy. They don't have faces for radio like I do. No, I'm kidding.
And like I say, every time we are on the air, just pick up the phone and call somebody because the text message, this new wave, it's okay. It happened to us last night. We were emailing back and forth to somebody, and I told Gina, I said, just pick up the phone. It's a lot easier. And the phone is a great tool, And somebody you haven't seen it in a while, you just say hi. And make sure you mention every Tuesday night from 6 to 7, there is a wonderful radio station, with us and with Giacomo. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed our show tonight. I certainly enjoyed listening to Giacomo. It was very nice to have you as a guest.
Thank you very much.
And don't forget to tune in next week. Giacomo Fierman will be with us to continue the Italia Ieri and Oggi show. And next, the Melody Flashback.